Artificial intelligence. What is it? Digital brains inside large computers.
What we're dealing with here is intelligence.
What happens when something vastly smarter than the smartest person comes along in silicon form? It's very difficult to predict what will happen.
I think this could be, as some people have described it, the biggest event in human history. So why are people saying things like this?
Alexa, what's the weather?
Good morning, Joe. Right now in Annapolis, it's 31 degrees Fahrenheit.
There is no question everything in the modern world will be impacted by AI. Given the mission of the Stockdale Center here at the Naval Academy,
This is the autopilot.
we just want to ensure that we're at the forefront of this conversation and where it leads, because there's a lot of voices.
Heavy traffic reported ahead.
In fact, there's so many voices, it appears to an outside observer as a cacophony of words about threats and promises and so on. Well, we seek to, here in the Stockdale Center, kind of sort through that cacophony and get at what the application of all of this is to make us better educators and better developers of leaders.
AI is here today, and we in the Naval Services have met these engineering or technical challenges frankly, over a millennium.
Michael Sears graduated from the Naval Academy in 1978. He went into the Marine Corps, and after service in the Marine Corps, went off to Stanford to get his MBA and JD, and then spent the next 30 plus years in Silicon Valley in the tech industry, essentially doing everything in the tech industry, from founding companies to being a venture capitalist to holding a number of patents in the tech space. So he had a deep expertise, a deep understanding of the nature of technology and how that technology gets applied. So that perspective has been critical.
Welcome to Radio Stockdale. I'm your host, Michael Sears, at the Stockdale Center for Ethical Leadership. We've shifted our Radio Stockdale programming to talk about artificial intelligence at the intersection of leadership, character, ethics, and law. You know, I was at the Naval Academy a long time ago, and when I was here, I had the chance to actually do computer programming. Now, it's a very different type of computer programming than we have today. Fast forward 30, 35 years, and I've been doing a lot of stuff in the Silicon Valley, watching the different waves of technology coming forward. And fundamentally, through all of these waves of technology, at least in my experience, I'm seeing something different. There's this inflection point, and it's our job to make sure we embrace the technology, understand both the pros and the cons of technology, because it is fundamentally going to change our lives going forward. In fact, it already has.
Part of the goal of the Stockdale Artificial Intelligence Leadership Laboratory is to help drive this conversation as it moves forward. We don't want to have just theoretical conversations here. We want to have practical application of the use of artificial intelligence in the development of leaders.
You know, we talk about whether or not we need to give AI a seat at the table. It's already sitting at the table, so we need to figure out, especially as leaders, how to incorporate that asset called AI that's part of the team now.
And we see that today with the midshipmen today. They're at this inflection point, because yeah, they know mobile, yeah, they know how to work apps, yeah, they know how to work social, but all of a sudden artificial intelligence is part of their lives. And the reason I'm saying it's part of their lives is it's an infrastructure. There might be apps on top of the AI, but it's an infrastructure like electricity. It's just part of who they are, what they're doing, and it's our job to make sure they know how to work these systems, because quite frankly, they already are. A great example of that is our machine learning team. They're actually using these technologies, thinking in a different way to actually get the solutions they'll need in their careers and their lives going forward.
Tonight we'll be kicking off the Data Science Challenge.
What up? What's up, you guys?
With the machine learning team. The machine learning team is a group of like-minded individuals on the yard. There's between 150 to 200 people who are not necessarily knowledgeable about machine learning, but are extremely motivated and curious to learn more and to kind of see how it may affect society down the road. All right, so we're all tracking what the objective is here.
It's tackling.
Yes, tackling, and we're trying to generate actionable, practical, and novel insights from the data.
What you're seeing is real-time tracking of the precise location of every player on the field.
Every year, the NFL publishes this data science challenge. They give out a bunch of data, and using this data, the goal is to come up with something that is actually helpful for NFL teams to use.
That's where the Big Data Bowl comes in.
And we can just download that code, are you serious?
Eric Liu is the president of the machine learning team this year. He's a computer science stud. He's a computer science and cyber operations double major. He's taken a lot of these machine learning and artificial intelligence courses, and he's already conducted quite a bit of research already, which is pretty spectacular.
Data science is actually so cool. My start in machine learning dates back to high school when DeepMind released this new documentary about AlphaGo. It was this journey about how this team of programmers ended up winning against the reigning world champion.
네, 돌통을 한번 만졌죠.
지금 만지고 있거든요.
And that, at the time, really seemed almost like science fiction to me. It just didn't seem possible. Go is one of the most complex board games. It has thousands of years of history. And to see a computer that reads binary, zeros and ones, how is it capable of comprehending a game that is so complex? And more than that, beating the undisputed world champion. That really inspired me. Okay, yeah, let's take a look at the visualization and then we'll take a look at the data a little closer. I wanted to jump into this world of mystery. I had a bunch of how questions. How is it able to do that? How could it beat the world champion? And that's really my motivation behind trying to learn a little more about this field.
Big Data Bowl.
Joe Ryman is the vice president of the machine learning team. Found this challenge when he was just looking at some interesting data science challenges.
I get all these emails about competitions, and I happened to see this one about the NFL's Big Data Bowl. And I thought, well, I like football. I mean, I like data. This is a pretty sweet combo.
We can throw in speed, acceleration, orientation. This isn't like a class or something that we're being forced to do. It's just we really are excited. We're passionate about, looking at real life data. A lot of times in class, we'll be given, fake data to look at, data that, is kind of irrelevant. It doesn't have any real world applications. But for a challenge like this, where we're given real world NFL collected data, it's exciting, it's usable.
It's actually exciting to work with. We just need a problem to solve. The first couple meetings, I think we struggled to even land on something that we even wanted to solve. The problem is there's so many variables to play with, and we kind of got ahead of ourselves thinking of what will the final solution look like? What could we do? What could show up on TV as a stat line?
I think this is a good start though, if we want to take some more time.
I'm really excited to see where AI can go. It is a crazy technology. I mean, there's a whole cybersecurity realm behind it. There's the generative part behind it, the predictive part behind it. There's all these different components, but there's also a very real concern. And this is a lot of what you see in the media too, the ethics behind AI. And so that's a little bit scary for the future, I think.
I think we got a good starting point, gang. Being a 21-year-old kid and seeing this new technology with so much potential just coming into fruition, there's a distinction with how different generations interact with this technology. We already saw it with mobile phones and smartphones. I mean, think about my parents and my grandparents. I don't feel like they've spent the time or necessarily are as engaged with learning the ins and outs of what that technology can do. But conversely, looking at me and my friends in this generation, we'll get a new technology, gadget, and the first thing we'll do is, wow, what are the cool new things that this gadget can do that past gadgets haven't done? And I think that's how much time we have left using these gadgets. For us, this is something that's very pertinent to our lives moving forward.
think this could be, as some people have described it, the biggest event in human history.
I think there is something to this. We are in a moment that's pregnant with promise and peril about an emerging technology. And the key is leveraging all these really smart people who are thinking very carefully about this in such a way as to bring out the best of that promise, while keeping one eye on the peril associated with this, keeping one eye on constraints, to ensuring that this goes in the right direction is the key to our work going forward.
My start in machine learning dates back to when this new documentary about AlphaGo, that really inspired me.
The fact that Midshipman Eric Liu is excited by this, he's motivated, he's curious about this. This is such an important perspective to have in this conversation. We've talked so much about leadership and why we're really developing leaders here. This is not just technical expertise that we're after. Folks like Eric are going to lead the Navy and the Marine Corps going forward. And of course, what's the highest bar in our working definition of leadership to direct, influence, and inspire the efforts of others? It's inspiration. And the very ideas captured here have inspired Eric and his fellow midshipmen, so they're going to drive this conversation forward as we go.
We just need a problem to solve.
That is such an important point. This is a point of discovery, right? This is the empirical process happening in real time. So when Midshipman Ryman says, after all this examination of data, he lands on the simple statement, what problem are we trying to solve? That's genius. That's exactly where we want them to be. We should never lose sight of that fundamental question, what problem are we trying to solve? If there is a thematic question to the series going forward on artificial intelligence, it's going to return to, again and again, what problem are we trying to solve?